What's the matter, Barry? Do you need me to move you over here so you're closer? Would that be better? Would you like that better? Are you too far away? Let's see if anybody gets here. Oh. Well, hello, Sally. I guess you saw what I was going to talk about. I'm just thinking I need to swap these two so Chloe is closer. I thought I would do that before anybody got here because it usually takes 5 minutes. Hello, Indiram. Oh, Sally, you say yes, but that's okay. I just like spending time with you. That's really sweet. I started getting lightheaded and dizzy because I worked outside a little bit, even though it's not hot. She's probably going to fly out. Yep. But I realized it was 1 o'clock and I hadn't eaten anything yet. So I ate. I do feel better. It was kind of... Indiram, I don't speak the language that you're typing. I'm really sorry. So, Sally, I'll probably show it again after more people get here. It shows 4 people are here. But I'm going to show, I took pictures of, this is what the thumbnail looked like that I joined. So when I looked at it, I thought, oh, that'd be cool. So I was listening and found out it was something completely different. And then here is the panel. And when I got on there, there was these 2 guys up at the top, which say they're atheists. And then there was a third guy on the bottom right that said he was Christian. He was really hard to understand, for me anyway. Hi, Cheryl. And let's see, Sally says, I was going to do a live the last 2 days in the afternoon, but I just haven't had time because I'm on the phone with doctors. Oh, I get that. It was either do a video or do a live. And I thought, well, I'll do a live because somebody might have some questions about what I experienced yesterday, which I'm glad I did it, but I was really scared. And I asked my husband, I had him watch the last part of it just for my tablet. And I said, can you tell how nervous I am? And he said, yes, I can. So I felt a little bit out of my element. And I'm glad that I did it. I am glad that I went on. So Cheryl, how are you doing? I know I have an email from you that I have not answered yet. Oh, Sally says, hello, Cheryl, my sunshine gal. I still feel a little bit out of it. Like I feel like I'm tired, but I don't feel tired, if that makes sense. I think it's because I slept really, really, really good last night. I went to bed at 10 o'clock. I woke up several times, but I didn't get up until I don't know if it was 7 or 7:30. I can't remember. Okay, Cheryl, you're at work, so you're still listening. I don't know if I remembered that you still are working. I watched your, I'm sure I commented, your videos, the one on camping in that little cabin with the short sink. That's funny. Kind of like a little dollhouse. Sally says, my urologist finally called me back and told me I need to go to the ER to get an IV antibiotic and I'll be admitted into the hospital. Are you going to go? I look really pale. Are you going to go or are you going to stay home? For your kidneys. Do you feel like you're dehydrated? Because I know that's a good thing. If you can't drink enough fluid, they can put an IV in. Sally says the last time I was there, it was 9 hours. Yeah, and it takes a while to process you in and process you back out. I really like to avoid the ER if at all possible. Sally says once it gets into the kidneys, oral antibiotics don't work. I had a kidney infection one time and the oral did work for me, but I think it went from bad to worse very quickly. And when I went in, the little cup that they give you to put your urine in, it was foamy on the top. It was really bad. And I literally could not stand, could not sit, could not drive, couldn't lay down. I mean, I was all but just yelling out loud. It was so painful. And Sally says, well, since this is my third round of coming back, they said that apparently the antibiotics are working when I take them, but afterwards I get it back. Yeah, I think that does happen. That happened with my daughter's strep throat. She had 4 times. She had strep 4 times back to back, and they were giving her amoxicillin. And I asked the doctor, I said, is it possible that the antibiotic is not strong enough and it just kind of like puts it in remission and then it comes back again? So he said yes, and they gave her Augmentin, and it cleared it up completely. Yeah, Sally says the UTI. Well, so I'll ask it again. Are you going to go or are you going to stay home? Oh, Sally says that's what I was going to say. She should have gotten Augmentin because that's the only thing that worked on my boy's ear infections. Yeah, it's supposed to be really strong. They gave her a shot first and then followed up with pills. I mean, maybe that's what you need is just a shot. Like if you went to I don't know if you have Care Now up there, but I haven't seen Primacare in a long time. But you know, the little like non-emergency, sort of emergency places you can go. They're cheaper, the wait is less, and sometimes you don't have to go to a full ER. Chloe, come here. Come here. Come here to see me. Come here. Come on. Oh, so that probably looks better with her little thingy there. You can't see my pumpkin anymore though. That's where I was going to put my Christmas tree next month. Well, actually December or something. Sally says she said something about a CT scan or something of the kidneys. Oh, yeah, they won't have that machine at the Care Now or whatever. Do you have Care Now? I do like Care Now. I had hurt my back like doing nothing, just moved wrong. And it was really, really getting to me. And I went in and they said, are you driving? And I said, yes, because I had just come from work. And they said, okay, well, we can give you a non-narcotic shot in your back. And I mean, as soon as the shot got in there, I was like, I'm good. And I went back to work. Sally says, I think it's called Medcare or Med Plus or something. Hi, Debbie Sue. She says, hi, y'all. Not home. Just wanted to say hello. Well, hello, Debbie. Are you going to doctor's visits or are you out going produce shopping? Oh, I would have loved to have been in that produce shop. I know you're not going to stay on here. That produce, oh my goodness. Everything is so pretty and smells so good. I would have loved to be there. I haven't been to one in a long, long time. Oh, Debbie's out with her sister. Okay, well, have fun. You certainly don't have to stay on here. You might want to watch the replay because what I'm talking about is I was watching a channel that was live and it said, Faith, let's talk about it. So I clicked on it and it was atheists that were talking and I got invited on the panel and I decided to accept the invitation, and I was going to talk about my experience going on there, which I guess I will start. We have 4 people. So I hope Cheryl is still able to listen, because I didn't really know how to do a video about this. That's what my first thought was. I'll just do a video. But there was 2 men on there that said that they're atheist, and there was one guy that was a Christian. His name was like Angelo or something like that, and that was his first name. It was all together, no apostrophes, but he was a little bit hard to understand. I think he was very smart, but he was hard, his accent, and he spoke low. Oh, hello, Connie. And so when I was talking, I would simply let me back up to see, I was really tired because I took that new medication that's supposed to make you sleepy, and it did the opposite. So I was up till 4:30 in the morning, and then I got back up at, I don't know, 3 hours later or something. And so I was just like running on one cylinder short. And so I was just typing out one sentence to there, trying to disprove that God exists and that he's real and so on. And so I would just type one sentence to them, and then people would start responding back in the comments. And I wasn't trying to argue with anybody. I would make a statement and then not be argumentative back. And the host finally said that he wanted me to come onto the panel. And I said, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm not comfortable. And he said, or I don't know what he said, but basically talked me into it. And I said, I don't want to get into like a confrontation and I'll be in tears. And he said, no, it's not going to be like that. I just want to ask you some questions. And so I told him, when he had 4 people on there, when he got down to the 3, I said when the last guest leaves, because he said he was going to leave, I would come on. So when I decided to go on, I'm waiting for him to accept me in, and he's excusing the Christian off of the channel, off of the live, which really kind of unnerved me, because I was like, oh my goodness, now it's going to be 2-1. And I was really nervous, but I knew where the red button was to get back out of there if I needed to. And surprisingly, they were very nice. They were not mean at all. They did ask questions. They tried to tell me that because I felt God after a prayer, that was just a feeling. It wasn't something that I could actually see or touch. And okay, there's not anything going on in the comments. I felt very stiff. I felt like I was going to be attacked, and I didn't get attacked, but I don't think that I made a big difference. The only thing that I found really interesting toward the end, this was a 4-hour live, and I came on somewhere after the 2-hour mark, and I left after 7 to go to Rhonda's live. I think I was on there about an hour and a half. I would have to go, might have been more. I'd have to go back to the live to see how long I was on there. But both of the men that were calling themselves atheists were former Christians, like pretty deep into the Christian life. And the one that was hosting said he found it easier to be an atheist than he did to be a Christian. And I guess I can understand what he was saying, because you don't have to worry about the guilt of doing anything or sinning or any of that. My first question I got when I got on there, that I'm just now remembering, the other guy, it was Lou was the host and Steve was the guest. And Steve said, if there's a bank A and a bank B, and you go into bank A and there's a $100 bill on the floor, and you pick it up and you look around and you see cameras, so you return it to the person that you think dropped it. And then you go into bank B and there's a $100 bill on the floor, and you pick it up and you look around and there's no cameras, and you give the $100 bill back to the person that you thought dropped it. the way I understood the question was, which one is the Christian giving the money back? And I said, well, the one without the cameras. And he said, yes, that he felt that was true too. And I said, however, because I did say that I became a Christian in 3rd grade, and then somewhere along after I became an adult, I went many years where, I said I was a Christian, and then I didn't do horrible things, but I definitely lived my life the way I wanted to live it, and didn't really worry about dying when I was living how I shouldn't. It's just youth, you're invincible. And then eventually I came back probably around 91 or so. And so I told him, I went through a period in my life where I was a single mom with 2 kids and $5 in my checking account. So, if I would have run across $100 bill and I needed it and there was no cameras, I would have probably taken it. I don't know for sure. That never happened. But if I felt like, oh, this was put here because I need it, I would have swiped it up. And so like I said, both of the guys there's a bird feather. Both of the guys said that they used to be Christian, and they just aren't now. And I felt like the guy named Steve was pretty intelligent. Not saying Lou wasn't, but Steve seemed like he was. So one of the things I prefaced my conversation with was, I have a high school education. I don't have any formal education above and beyond that. So some of the things that you were talking about before I came on here is completely out of something I can discuss. And there was a guy in the chat. His name was the Mighty Filbert, I think. And he kind of went on there saying, in the chat, that I wasn't convincing, I wasn't proving my case, basically. And I gave an example of, I wanted people to, come to God before it was too late. And he brought that up. He's like, what do you mean by too late? And I said, I don't know how much I exactly said, but what I meant was, the world might end today or tomorrow, or maybe not even in my lifetime, but I can go out to the mailbox to get mail and get hit and killed by a car. And that would make it too late, because we never know the day we're going to die. And he said, oh, I get that. I understand the too late. I don't understand heaven and hell. I mean, I don't know how to explain that. I just don't. And he continued to comment, and his final comment that I read said that he had been a pastor for 15 years, and then he turned and left the church. And I think our discussion hit a soft spot with him. I think it made him maybe not reconsider, but seriously think about what he was typing in the comments to actually what he believed deep down. And then Lou asked me, what did I hope to accomplish by, and I know it's not verbatim, but accomplish by coming on here and talking about what I believe. And I said, if one person, these were former Christians, if one person might remember something I said and think about it, then that was worth it. Maybe it just planted a seed. And at the end of it, when I got off of there, I was very happy to be off of there, but I felt completely drained. I felt like, some of my life source had left. It was scary at first. It wasn't so scary after I got on there, and I'm so glad that the guys were nice. And this one it was at 6:00. She was ready to go to bed. She kept flying to my shoulder. I kept putting her back there, and she was talking nonstop. And she's like saying, put me to bed, put me to bed. But she can go in her cage, and she ended up doing that, put herself to bed. But it was so distracting because I was trying to be so serious. And one of them said, the Lou guy said, oh, how cute. Turns out he has 2 parakeets. So anyway, does anyone have any questions? Everyone is silent. So I started talking about that that new medication that I was going to take. That I was in my car getting gas. I was going to go to Walmart and pick it up. It's amitriptyl or something like that. And I took it. I was scared to take it because there's supposed to be a withdrawal if you try to get off of it. I don't know what the dosage would be and all that. But I took it and it had the opposite effect. I don't drink caffeine, and it affected me like I had drank caffeine. I wasn't like jittery, but I was ready to start the day and do something instead of just sitting quietly and, getting ready to go to bed. I did try to lay down and it just didn't work. I got up for 2 hours, went back to bed, got back up. And finally at 4:30, I went back to bed and I was able to sleep. So I think I took it around 11. So it took 4.5 hours of that medicine in my system before I could sleep. Cheryl says, you may have planted the seed and now someone else can come along and water. I hope so. And did I say that the mighty Filbert said that he used to be a pastor? Did I say that? And I think it affected him the most out of the 3 men, because nobody else really talked in the comments. They just stopped. And honestly, we were through StreamYard and I couldn't see how many people were on there to see if everybody left, and that's why nobody was commenting. That would be my guess. But I definitely wish I would have been better rested. Oh, and one other thing that the guy named Steve said was he was talking about King David and Bathsheba. And I was ready to talk about that. Not that I have the Bible memorized, but I was ready to talk about it. And he said that King David, he had Bathsheba's husband killed, and then he got together with her. And I knew that they had a baby together, and God took the baby back. But Steve was telling me that all of David's wives were taken out on the rooftop and were you know what I'm trying to say, out there in for everyone to see. And I was like, I don't really remember that part of King David. So he's like, oh, it's in Samuel, whatever. And so I looked it up, and it said that it was David's dad, and David was involved in that, I believe. I read it really quick when I was tired, so I need to go back and read it, but I didn't remember that being King David. Dang it, I wish I would have known that, because I could have added more. Connie says, no question, but being a spokesperson for Christians is brave, and who wouldn't be proud of you? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think before you got here, Connie, I said that they wanted an example of how I knew that God was real. And I said that, when my daughter had died, it hadn't been very long and I wasn't sleeping. I don't know. I don't think it was the first day. It might have been the second day or the third day. And I was walking from this room across through the kitchen, across the living room to go back to the bedroom. And I just hit my knees and I was just sobbing. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't get through this without some help. Please help me. And I felt like this, I don't know if it was like a webbing or like, how an egg feels if it's cracked on your head, but where it's like going like this. And it was so comforting and so warm. And immediately I wasn't crying anymore. And I went to bed and I went to sleep. And I didn't say what I should have said, what I would say now that I've had time to think about it. But they said, well, that's just a feeling that you have. And they weren't rude, but that's just a feeling that you have. It's nothing you can touch. It's nothing you can see. And while it is a feeling, there's a difference between a feeling in here and a feeling here. Cheryl said, that's the Father's love embracing you. I will never forget it. It took me a while because my daughter's been gone for 4 years. March was 4 years, where I felt like the tears starting to well up, but I couldn't even talk about that experience without getting very emotional about it. And when I finally told my husband about it, he's like, oh, I know. And I don't know if he meant that he saw me or I had already told him and I forgot I told him. I don't really know. She feels the need to talk when I'm talking because she thinks I'm talking to her. And she goes back in the bathroom when I'm getting ready for the day. And there's a little perch for her to stand on the side of the sink, and the mirror is all the way across. So yesterday she's all up at the mirror, like talking sweet, like she loved that bird. And then this morning she's pecking at the bird like, I hate you. Well, hello, Steve Brocky. How are you? Did you see the title? I don't know if that's anything you're interested in or not. Oh, good evening. So where are you? It's 2 p.m., 2:13 p.m. here. Oh, I'm glad you're doing well. So I'm trying to think. I know what your voice sounds like, but I'm trying to remember an accent because you do a lot of them outside as well. A lot of your videos outside. 2013 in Scotland. Okay. I don't remember you sounding Scottish. So anyway, back about the doctor again. She sent me into let me answer Steve real quick. He says he doesn't have a strong Scottish accent. Okay. I mean, to a point, a lot of us speak a little bit differently just from coast to coast here in the USA. Oh, thank you. That's my little princess, Chloe. Aren't you a little princess? Yes, you're a little princess. So this doctor that gave me this last medication that doesn't work, she wanted to send me to a physical therapist. And I'm like, for what? I haven't had a stroke, a heart attack. I haven't been in an accident. Nothing is broken. What could physical therapy do for me? If she would have probably asked me more questions, she would have found out that I've been to a chiropractor. And basically they said, your neck is shot. It's like an old rusty hinge and we can't fix it. You're just going to have to live with it, which then brings the pain down to the shoulders. So physical therapy is not going to be able to fix that. If a chiropractor can't fix it, then a physical therapist certainly can't fix it. And so that actually made me angry that she didn't even talk to me about whether I wanted that or not. She had her assistant call me, and then a few hours later, the physical therapist is calling. And so I'm going to go back to the original group of doctors that I went to for 20 years that they weren't taking my insurance anymore when I was working. And now on my husband's insurance, they accept his. So I'm going to go back there in November. I have an appointment. And Steve says hello to Cheryl. She sees you in Rob's lives as well. Yes. And he sees Debbie Sue as well. Debbie Sue is known for being in everyone's lives. She's actually not even home, and she's here. She's our biggest supporter. I don't know if Connie is still here anymore. Connie does not have a channel. Connie is just a great supporter of channels. And I don't know if Sally is still here. Sally hasn't been feeling good for a while. Do you guys mind hitting like on your way in or your way out? I would appreciate it. Oh, Connie's still here. Good deal. Do y'all want to change the subject and talk about something else? Because I've talked about or ask any questions. I've talked about the atheists, and I actually looked up agnostic, the exact definition of that. And I'm wondering if they're really agnostic rather than atheist. Atheist is such a horrible, strong word. Or, I can just talk about anything, literally well, if I know about it anyway, but I just like to talk. We've got dead air time, Chloe. We've got dead air time. She doesn't want to come off my shoulder. Well, it's been a half an hour. I can let everybody go if you guys want to go. Don't feel like you have to stay here. Connie said it's a sad word. It is. It is. I had a friend that told me that God was for a weak man, and that was just a crutch that they used. And I'll never forget that. Cheryl says, I love my chiropractor. She's helped me a lot. Yeah, it helped in the back part, which I really didn't have a lot of issues with. I mean, they're always going to find something that could be put in a better position, but nothing that was really bothering me. No, that's not true. I was having some lower back problems, but those kind of got resolved. But the neck, there's nothing they can do. It's from bad posture at a desk for too many years. Hey, Dora. She says, hi, Evie. Just looked at YouTube and I see a bird and then you. I can't hear you as Diego is asleep next to me at 5 a.m. on silent. Okay. Hello, Dora. Hopefully you read my lips. Wave at me as I can't hear. Hi, Dora. Here, I know what I'll do. That's Exploradora 80. Oh. She said, haha, that's good. And she's clapping. That's funny. She says, that's gold. That's a first. Hey, I was ready. I had the card. So if you guys want to hand me a subject, type me a subject to talk about, I'd be happy to do that. Or if you want to be on your merry way and enjoy the rest of your Thursday, or as Steve is probably on Friday, right? If he's still here, he's probably on Friday already. Oh, and I meant to say thank you, Steve. He said, love your bird. I love my bird. Do I love you? Do I love you? Oh, I do. Oh, I do. Okay, well, everyone has gone silent. There's 5 people here, and I have 5 likes. Yay! You want to say goodbye? You want to say goodbye? Come here. Say goodbye. Oh, now Rhonda's here. Hey, Rhonda, we ran out of subjects, so I was going to hang it up. I was on your live, and I did type that I had been on a panel with an atheist, or 2 of them. So I talked about that this morning, as much as I could remember of it. I could rewatch the live back, though. Dora wants to know what the bird's name is. Can someone say it in the chat? I'll write it down. Chloe. Right there. Rhonda says hello to Dora, and Dora says Karen Bun Club member. Yes, she is the second member of the Bun Club because Karen started it. And poor Allison didn't have quite enough hair to pull it off. And who's talking, right? Connie says, I think the test of time is a testament to Christ being real. Yeah, you have to give it a chance too, talking to people about how they feel and what experiences they've had. Dora says, Rhonda said, yes, ma'am. And Dora says, okay, Olive. Hiya, Olive. I don't get that. Olive. It's Chloe, if you're talking about the bird's name. Dora says, I'm watching silently. Rhonda and Evie is doing sign for me. Rhonda says, that's cool. You were on that panel. But yes, you weren't here yet. Let me show you what the picture looked like of the panel that I decided why I even clicked on the live to begin with. That's what it said. Let's chat about faith. That thing was 4 hours. And these are the two guys that were on the panel. The guy with the hat is the one that actually invited me. And then I think Steve was invited by Lou. I think Lou started it. And then Steve joined, and then another person joined, and another person joined, and then two left, and I went on. Okay, we're down to one person, so it's time to say goodbye. Thank you.